afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Coming up, the governing NDC says the Chief Justice's decision to dismiss petitions against the Electoral Commission Chair, Jean Mensah, and her deputies won't change stance of the party that the EC heads must go.
I want to make the point that the National Democratic Congress still believes that the current composition of the Electoral Commission and how they have conducted their over the past 5 years leaves much to desire.
We'll hear from the Director of Legal for the party as opposition MP for Menchia South, Nana Eje Bafwewa, calls for legislation to back the determination of a prima facie case to prevent inconsistency in such decisions.
A statute to resolve these things, because we can't have a situation where different principles or standards will be applied to different Ghanaians holding the same or similar position.
Also, pressure is mounting on President Mahama to name some substantive defense minister after the office became vacant following the tragic passing of Omani Boama.
President should have appointed a defense minister, because by this time the Minister for Defense should have been on the flight to Burkina with his team. This is not the job of the Interior Minister. He's my friend, but unfortunately that's not his job.
We'll tell you the assurance of President Mahama in November.
We're not in a hurry. I'll do those appointments next year after the holiday, the Christmas and the New Year. We'll fill those positions and so.
President Mahama signs the 24-hour Economy Authority Bill into law, creating the legal and regulatory foundation needed to formally roll out the government's 24-hour economy and accelerated export development program. We have more for you in sports.
Black Starlets step up under 17 AFCON preparations, hoping to seal a World Cup spot and end a 27-year title drought.
In today's Roads of Peril feature, we report on the effect of the poor nature of the Kwabenya Brekusu Ketase stretch on healthcare delivery and education.
Please tell the president to fix this road for us. The dust is affecting our health.
Stay with us for details of these stories and more. My name is Gemma Appiah. This afternoon, the governing NDC remains firm that the EC heads must go. The party's legal director, Ediji Tamaklo, says the Chief Justice's decision to dismiss petitions against the EC chair and her deputies won't change their stance. The Chief Justice's decision has sparked varied reactions. Chief Justice Paul Bafo-Boni ruled that the concerns raised, though serious, didn't meet the prima facie threshold for removal. Speaking on the Super Morning Show, Ediji Tamaklo insisted the NDC remains resolute in its position.
I also want to make the point that the position of the NDC as to the conduct or other part of the Electoral Commission over the past 5 years is a matter of record. I want to make the point that the National Democratic Congress still believes that the current composition of the Electoral Commission and how they have conducted their over the past 5 years leaves much to desire. From what I am reading, it does appear that the Chief Justice has taken the position that the matters in there raise very serious administrative and constitutional issues. And so possibly the forum is not Article 146, and that those matters can be litigated in a different place other than the Apex Court.
Let's go to the phone line and speak to Justice Abdullah. He's a constitutional lawyer. But before that, the minority MP for Menchia South, Nana Eje Bafwewa, believes there is no consistency with the latest decision, and that which took out former CJ Tokonu. He's calling for legislation to fix the inconsistency.
Where there has been a specific breach of the Constitution, you feel that it doesn't establish a prima facie case. That is why we have stated that this issue about what constitutes a prima facie breach in respect of Article 146, we think that it should be reduced into law. Unless it is reduced into law, it becomes the discretionary power of whoever is making the decision. And this is where it is not good. Okay. Otherwise, we risk a situation where different standards are going to be applied to different people based on the disposition of whoever is exercising that discretionary power and what he thinks of that person. And so this raises fundamental questions, and I think that we need a statute to resolve these things, because we can't have a situation where different principles or standards will be applied to different Ghanaians holding the same or similar positions.
Let's also hear from one of the petitioners, Apostle Abraham Lincoln Labi, who is vowing to stage series of protests over the matter.
I'm really surprised when I heard about the Chief Justice saying that there's no prima facie case in what the petitions that we gave to the president, or the petition that the president forwarded to him. What a shock. Is he trying to say, my petition is about demonstrating bad faith by allowing of reality to leave the country. All the petitions, my petition, for instance, has a solid grounds. Things are clear. It's not something that we are fabricating, or Apostle Lincoln is fabricating, sorry to say. These are clear issues. So what is the fact that you come out and say that there's no prima facie case? My Lord, the way forward is the fact that I will hit the street again. My Lord, I disagree.
Let's go to the phone line now and speak to Justice Abdullahi, constitutional lawyer. Thank you so much for your time on the Midday News. Let me first get your reaction to the stance of the NDC that the EC ahead must still go despite the ruling by the Chief Justice.
Well, I have to be honest about my position on the EC chair in particular, that I am biased against her. I of her removal, and so any petition, legitimately intended for her removal, I'll be in support of it. So I'll be a wrong candidate to even discuss that subject, because I also need her out because I am not impressed with her works, particularly since the last two elections. And so the removal of the EC for me will be a very good omen for us, I'm sure for the people of Ghana, particularly because of the way she has handled herself.
But the Chief Justice says there's no prima facie case against her.
Yes. So coming to that, I tend to think that if you remember during the removal of the CJ, the former CJ, I called for a complete overhaul of this entire Article 146 and advocated strongly for serious reforms and a legislative piece to regulate the removal of the entire Article 71 public holders, 70 public holders, particularly those captured in Article 146, and that is because of the problematic nature of it. I think I dealt strongly with that, and my position is exactly what is happening now. I have a fair idea of some of the petitions, and I thought that there were stronger cases for the removal of some of the persons that the petition was made against. Unfortunately, the decision to establish a prima facie case rests extensively on the CJ, and I see that decision as a judicial decision that he ought to make, even though it comes across also as an administrative decision, because he has the sole prerogative of determining whether a prima facie case has been made or not, and it brings a lot of discretion. It comes along with a lot of discretion. So because of that discretionary power that the CJ has within this space when establishing a prima facie case or otherwise, the same prima facie case and the same discretion that the President and the Council of State exercise when it is in respect of the removal of the CJ. And so it becomes a serious political tool, if you like, for the removal of these public office holders, depending on how the person appeals to the appropriate authority or otherwise, in particular, whether the person appeals appropriately to the president or the CJ or does not.
So Justice, because of time, let me ask this question. So you will agree with the minority MP for Mesha South, and AJ Bafo, who is advocating for a CI to legislate such removal processes?
I had already made that that proposal, and so if he's also making the same advocacy, then I guess it is in the right direction. I mean, we have to have this done. Otherwise, the abuses and, if you like, the discretion might never stop today.
Thank you very much. Justice Abdullah is a constitutional lawyer. On the matter of legislation that we were just talking about with Justice Abdullah, there was a similar move some time ago, and Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante joins me with some updates on that. Kweku, who initiated this move?
Well, Gemma, at the start of the second meeting of Parliament last year, the government, in fact, it was at the time that the removal process of the former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono was at a hilt. The government decided that it was going to sponsor such legislation in Parliament. In fact, the majority at the time announced that the Attorney General will put such a legislation before Parliament. But up until now, that legislation has not been put before the House. No decision has been taken. As of this morning, I've been checking to see whether, given what is happening now, the government will be moving to fast-track the process to put that before Parliament. But I haven't gotten any conclusive information on that. So it was the government that planned to put this legislation before Parliament, but that has not been done, Gemma, almost a year since that promise was made.
Thank you very much, Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante. Let's take you to other stories. This afternoon, pressure is mounting on President Mahama to name a substantive defense minister after the office became vacant following the tragic passing of Omani Boama. President Mahama gave the finance minister, Dr. Kesalato Forsing, an added responsibility by appointing him as an acting defense minister. But 6 months after the incident, the president is yet to make the appointment. Listen to President Mahama, who in November last year said he was going to make the appointment after the Christmas break.
We made a promise to appoint more than 60 ministers, and some people said, how are you going to work with only 60 ministers? As I speak today, we're working with 58 ministers because, unfortunately, they say Allah gives and Allah takes. He took 2 of our comrades, and we haven't filled those positions yet. I can see people speculating he's going to appoint a new defense minister, a new environment minister. We're not in a hurry. I'll do those appointments next year after the holiday, the Christmas and the New Year. We'll fill those positions. And so those speculating about somebody going to be appointed tomorrow and all that, I mean, just take your time, go and enjoy Christmas, and then after Christmas we will take a decision on those ones.
That was President Mahama speaking at Jubilee House when the Ghana Muslim Mission paid a courtesy call on him. The Christmas break, well, is over and no appointment has been made yet. Former Defense Minister and Bimbala MP Dominic Nitiwul is warning that Ghana's security architecture is being exposed by the continued absence of a defense minister. Nitiwul says the recent terrorist attack on Ghanaian tomato traders in Burkina Faso underscores the urgent need to appoint a fully mandated defense minister.
I kept on calling that the president should have appointed a defense minister because by this time the minister for defense should have been on the flight to Burkina with his team. This is not the job of the interior minister. He's my friend, but unfortunately that's not his job. If he goes there, he'll go and meet the defense minister. It's the soldiers who are fighting the terrorists. It's not the interior minister's job. And unfortunately, the interior minister's job ends at Paga, the border. Doesn't go beyond the border. It's the duty of the Minister for Defense with defense intelligence and national security to have gone. They set up a team. They will go there, find out what happened, investigate, and make sure that they find out what happened, the circumstances that led to it, and then also to find out what's the best way to ensure that it doesn't happen again.
Former Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul. Some names have come up as potential candidates for the position. And my colleague Pearl Ofori joins me in studio to run us through the list. Pearl, what are the names we're hearing?
Well, we're hearing names like Zanato Ojiman-Rollins. She's a medical doctor. She's also the MP for Korle-Klottey constituency. In Parliament, she serves as chairperson of the Select Committee on Security and Intelligence. She's also a member of the Defense Committee. She has over 5 certificates, including an executive master's degree in security-related causes. We also know that she is the daughter of former President J.J. Rawlings, who served as a military ruler for years. And there's also Prosper Douglas Bunny. He's a politician and development specialist. He served as Chief of Staff to President John Mahama from 2013 to 2015. He later served as Minister for the Interior from January 2016 to January 2017. Last year, he was appointed National Security Advisor to President Mahama. And then we have Lieutenant Colonel retired Larry Bevlu Latte. He's a retired Ghanaian military officer and security expert. Well, he served as National Security Coordinator from 2009 to 2014 under President John Evans Atta Mills and continued under President Mahama. He also served senior roles in United Nations peacekeeping missions and served as Director of African Center for the Study and Research on Terrorism under the African Union. He is currently serving as Special Envoy to the Alliance of Sahelian States. And then there is He's a politician, as we are all aware, and member of the NDC. He previously served as the Ashanti Regional Youth Organizer of the party. Well, in 2025, he was appointed Deputy Minister for Defense by President Mahama, and he is currently serving that role.
Thank you very much, Pel Ofori. Now, President John Mahama has signed the 24-Hour Economy Authority Bill into law, creating the legal and regulatory foundation needed to formally roll out the government's 24-Hour Economy and Accelerated Export Development Program. The newly established authority will be responsible for implementing the 24-Hour Economy Initiative. In his remarks after signing the bill, President Mahama said although it has taken some time, the government needed to move patiently through the process in order to give it legal effect. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Agwagba joins me now with details. Maxwell, what more can you report on the signing?
Well, the bill was signed during a cabinet meeting in the cabinet boardroom, attended by cabinet members, including the president, vice president, key officials like the finance minister, Cassia was supporting, the presidential advisor on the 24-hour economy,
Maxwell, if you could reposition yourself for us to hear you better.
Can you hear me now?
Please go on.
Yes. Now, following the signing, the President, together with cabinet members, we know that the bill was originally made in the House sometime last year, and it was passed by Parliament.
Unfortunately, Maxwell, we are struggling to hear you, but we can listen to the President.
Cabinet colleagues have just appended my signature to give assent to the 24-hour authority bill. This is a bill Ghanaians have been waiting for. It was one of our flagship strategies for economic transformation. It's taking a while, but we needed to go patiently through the process to give legal effect to it. And so from now, we must move from strategy to implementation. The business sector is waiting, Ghanaian investors are waiting, foreign investors are waiting. They want to see the package of incentives that we afford them so that they can invest more and expand productivity and also create more employment for our young people. And so it's my pleasure to assent to this bill today. Thank you. And let me congratulate the team that has been working on it. Our comrade Guzitando and his team, we're very grateful.
Now, the gunman check-in, Taki Teko True II, is safe and sound after a car accident in Oti region early Wednesday morning. He was returning from a private visit to the Yana in Tamale, strengthening traditional bonds when the incident occurred and around 2 a.m. at Pai Kantanga. Police responded quickly and the king's condition is said to be stable. We'll be monitoring that to bring you more in subsequent bulletins. But now, family of the baby allegedly stolen from Mamprobi Polyclinic are demanding justice after the child was found, as they call on police to thoroughly investigate and prosecute the suspect. According to the family, the child has developed severe infections after being recovered and is currently on admission at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital receiving medical care. The family is now calling on the police to intensify investigations and ensure the suspect is prosecuted to serve as a deterrent to others. Joy News' Ramaz Bashir has returned to the community, and unfortunately, we do not have Ramat on the line, but we will bring that later. It's now time to take a break. We'll be back with Sports. Stay. Sports. Mubarak is here with the latest. Mubarak.
Yes, Gemma, the Black Starlets are intensifying preparations with friendly matches ahead of the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations, which kicks off in April. The top 8 teams at the competition will automatically qualify for the Under-17 World Cup. Ghana last lifted the Under-17 AFCON trophy in 1999. Here's the team's head coach, Prosper Nate Ogu.
The history is there. Winning the trophy, it has been won before. When it comes to being a first runner-up, it has been done before. All is never well with me. I'm rather being tasked to replicate what has been done already. And more importantly, the key responsibility is about we, the technical staff. We have to make sure that we select the right players without emotions. It doesn't that this person is coming from here, no. Because at the end of the day, they don't play your favorite song when the team assembles on the line. It is the national anthem that is played. Is that not it? So all of us are there in the interest of the flag.
That is the head coach of Ghana's Black Starlets, Prosper Nate Ogu.
Thank you very much, Mubarak. Now let's go back to our earlier story. The family of the baby allegedly stolen from Mamprobi Polyclinic is demanding justice after the child was found. Ramat Bashiru is there for us. Ramat, what more are we learning about the situation this afternoon?
Gemma, this morning, the parents of the alleged stolen baby from the Mamprobi Polyclinic were at Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We understand the baby has suffered a lot of medical implication. I mean, the baby is affected, so they brought the baby to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital for the baby and the parents to see medical treatment. I spoke to the father and I spoke to some relative members who came here to empathize with the mother and then the baby. Apparently, the mother is still in the ward. They will not allow us to speak to them. But what the relative and the father tell me is that they are demanding that justice is served because they suspect that somebody inside the polyclinic, collaborated with the suspect who came for the baby, and that they feel that the person should be prosecuted and jailed. We've confirmed from the family as well that the mother, the suspect who came for the baby is not the suspect who actually went to the hospital to steal the baby. So the one that's arrested now is the mother who received the baby. So the one who went to the hospital to steal the baby is currently not found. But
Thank you very much, Ramat Bashiru. On the Kwabena Brekusu-Kitase stretch, pupils make their way to and from school along a dusty pothole-ridden road. Covering their faces with handkerchiefs has become part of the daily routine as every passing vehicle leaves behind a haze of dust that blurs visibility. Beyond the classroom, the impact is evident at the Brekusu Health Center, where health workers report increasing diseases. More in today's episode of Rose of Peril by Pearl Ofori.
A cry for help.
Please tell the president to fix this road for us. The dust is affecting our health.
A hospital struggling under the effects of a bad road.
We have respiratory tract infections, both adults and the kids as well.
This is the Brekusu Road. Commuting to and from school should not be this uncomfortable. But for these young ones in Brekusu, it is. Every day, pupils walk along this untarred stretch, bracing themselves for the next passing vehicle. When a vehicle approaches, they pause and cover their faces, knowing that once it passes, the dust will follow. Gabriel Malpomo says he's allergic to the dust and is worried about what constant exposure could mean for his health.
You see, when the cars are going, the dust that comes straight, it comes straight to my eye. It makes it itch me. Sometimes I have bad eyesight at that time, and even inhaling it, sometimes I cough.
Elizabeth Donko, a resident, has had enough.
Oh, where from? Yes, what the high Brekusu. Where? Look at your mouth. You know, why? Where from? Yes, the more. Look at your mouth.
Joy FM, this is Brekusu. Please tell the president to fix this road for us. The dust is affecting our health. We are tired. When it rains, the situation gets worse.
Yes, the many brepa. Many brankasa.
At the Brekusu Health Center, health officials say respiratory-related cases are common. Patrick Afenu is a physician assistant and manager of the facility.
We have respiratory tract infections. We have the bronchitis, the pneumonia, the rhinitis. We also have pneumonia and asthma cases coming in, both adults and the kids as well.
Sterling International, a private school on the Brekusu Road, has had over 100 pupils leaving because of the condition of the road. Alfred Kojo Aloti is the principal.
Between 2003 and now, we've lost almost about 105 students. Some will come in and go, by the twinkling of an eye, they are gone. And eventually it leads to withdrawals.
The bond hearing for former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta in the United States is set to take place today, February 19, as a federal judge tackles the question of whether Ghanaian authorities have filed proper proof of an extradition request. Judge David Gadi told lawyers handling the former minister's immigration case that the court cannot act on assertions without proof, demanding that documented evidence of an extradition request be submitted by today before he considers any decision on bond or release. The hearing follows a closed-door court session on the 20th of January where the judge paused consideration of Ofori-Atta's bail application after state attorneys opposed his release, citing the pending extradition effort by Ghana. We follow the story closely and bring you updates in subsequent bulletins. Now, many people in rural and peri-urban areas still rely on firewood and charcoal for cooking, which harms the environment due to deforestation and air pollution. The government is working to transition to cleaner energy sources, but success is uncertain. Initiatives like promoting sawdust charcoal and grass charcoal aim to reduce deforestation and greenhouse gas emissions. There is more in today's climate evidence by Joy News' Precious Semevo.
The world's energy sector is responsible for about 75% of greenhouse gas emissions from fossil electricity generation and traditional biomass, among others, according to a 2023 International Energy Agency IEA report. In Sunyani, in the Bono region of Ghana, where some residents still use firewood and charcoal for domestic and commercial cooking and industrial purposes to sustain livelihoods. But a few, like Gloria Sifa, a food vendor, have had to use clean energy against her preferred firewood due to the location of her food joint. Her preferred firewood and charcoal come at a cost of forest destruction, a worrying situation according to Richard Kofiche, Bono Regional Deputy Director of the Forestry Commission.
We all need to work together, reverse the trend. Otherwise, time will come and then we will found one. In our society, you say that poverty is one of the reasons why they continue using firewood. They cannot afford it. And so though we don't like, but gradually you can use that. It is easier getting the firewood as against the LPG.
Dr. Khalid Mensah is the head of Department of Atmospheric and Climate Science at the University of Energy and Natural Resources in Sunyani.
Clean, sustainable energy supplies that could be alternatives to this firewood and charcoal burn has to do with the use of LPG gas.
You see, Jana said, "Number 1.5. That's a gas we turn now. You know, 1.5. You be here say, you part of the better as you are sitting here over so you see, because it is a gas. No, the area.
The country receives some money from this global alliance, and then also some from these climate-related groups, and all of these could be geared towards creating some subsidies."
Precious Semevo, Sunyani.
This story is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with CDKN Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund.
It's now time to find out what's trending on social media. a lot has been happening. We understand issues concerning Ken Ofori-Atta has been trending
a lot.
Yes, Anodame is here. So yes, we'll bring you that in a subsequent bulletins. You're following that story keenly.
Yes, Gemma, some are saying that we need him back in Ghana. Others are saying that just leave the old man alone. And as you said, we'll definitely bring you more in subsequent bulletins. And Jackie will also be bringing us some on the Joy News channel.
Oh, that's how we end the Midday News. My name is